I'm Aaron Sagers, and this is Talking Strange.
Cheers to 10 years of being human. When you guys first started pursuing the project, what was your awareness of Being Human UK?
I didn't know of the show. And I actually didn't really watch it during the process of getting on the show. In fact, once we were all there, if I remember correctly, they told us not to watch it because they didn't want us to be influenced by what they were doing. But I know at some point we all did watch it and loved it. Really, it's a really great show and felt really, really different than what we were doing. And we were able to appreciate it for what it was.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I was certainly aware of the show, but I don't even think I started watching any of the episodes until like the fourth season, if not after we finished. But they did, they certainly made a point of like wanting us to do our own thing, have our own thing. And so I hadn't watched it.
I seem to remember that from the Comic-Con panels that I think you guys started watching it like a season behind. Like after you would complete your first season, then you would watch a season of the UK version. But as you were doing this, what was your thought about, when did you feel like you had confidently escaped those comparisons or shadow of the UK version? And before you answer that, we might have someone with us. He was Josh Levison on Being Human. His name's Sammy Huntington. He's a nice guy. Let's bring him in. I see you're on your cell phone.
I am. Yeah. I mean, I hopefully this works. I mean, can you hear me? Can you see me all right?
Yeah.
Hey. I'm in trouble.
Just a slight lag, but you know what? We're going to work with this. I'll throw the question at you to start, Sammy. Like, what was the moment where you felt like really Being Human US escaped sort of that comparison to the UK version?
I think it was.
This is my favorite.
I can hear you. Hold on, let me try again. I think hold on.
Almost professional, people.
Look at her.
John is my favorite.
John
Oh, wow.
Hey, back.
Oh my gosh, what a nightmare.
So much better.
To answer your question, I think that we started leaning into being our own show at the end of season 1, didn't we? Like it started trending that way because then in season 2 was when we really kind of departed. From what I remember, I think it was season 2 felt like completely new territory. Season 2 felt like we were like really our own show, which was awesome, which was a really cool feeling. Although, we had such a great foundation with which to build off of from the UK series that I was happy to do that as well. It was just wonderful. Mm-hmm. But I think that also, like, I have to give the writers credit. Like, I think that right from the get-go, the show had its own independent voice, and obviously, like, all of us were big fans of the UK series as well. So we got to kind of pay homage to them while still kind of like bringing a new vibe to it. Does that make any sense?
It made a lot of sense. And I'm kind of curious about, of course, Kristen, like, I guess you were already on the show, and then you became a regular cast member by season 2. And right. So when you guys were first coming together, first meeting, was there a moment you recall where each of you thought, to quote stepbrothers, like, did we just become best friends? Are we best friends now? Where you clicked as a cast with one another? And Chrissy, why don't you begin with that, and then I'll hear it from everybody else.
It was one of those situations where from the moment I stepped on set, I just felt like I was at home. Like, I remember specifically Sammy like greeted me with the biggest hug I've ever gotten from a stranger. And it was just lovely. Like I never felt this weird sort of, I don't know. I didn't feel like the outsider coming in. I was welcomed right away. And I felt like I knew everyone already. Like it was so serendipitous, the whole thing. And I think that I came in episode 4 or something, 4 maybe of season 1, and then recurred for the first season, and then was a regular at second season. But fun fact, I had auditioned initially for the vampire girl in season 1. Sarah's role. I don't remember the name of the character. Does anyone else remember the name of the character?
Elizabeth? No, I don't know.
You know what I'm talking about.
We don't remember.
Yeah.
I had initially gone out and they wanted to cast me for that role, but another job conflicted. Rebecca. And I almost played Rebecca. And then because of another job, I couldn't do that role. And so that's how I ended up playing Nora.
That worked out well.
Yeah.
And Meghan, what about your thought when you first came in and you met these guys? Was it a friendship at first sight or?
Yeah, it was. We met at the screen test. They sort of were doing a mix and match of a bunch of their top choices for these roles, and I went in. I remember I was paired with Sammy and Sam, and it just felt really right. It just like getting into a warm pool, you know what I mean? It was just kind of obvious.
For me, I remember, the first time the three of us read together, this is a two-parter. First time the three of us read at the screen test, it was just so much fun. I know that sounds so dumb, but it was like, we were like instantly having a really good time and felt like we could really, like, the characters found themselves when the other two people, like, it's like suddenly there was just this like, these are who these characters are and they belong together, which like really like, I think was what made the show kind of amazing. And then Kristen, when Kristen came along, I think the reason there was so much warmth there was because all of us were like, this girl needs to be on the show. Like she should, especially for me, I was like, this is such the exact path that I want Josh to take. And it morphed into, it was interesting. It's like a real like relationship or a marriage where like you meet that person and then you're like, now like, it's not just me, it's like the two of us. And it was suddenly the two of us going on this journey together. And it just like literally elevated everything. So it's funny because I always forget that you came in later because
me too.
It seems so like
episode 4. I really want to go back and rewatch everything.
So I showed Audrey, my daughter, the very last scene. I showed her because she was like, I told her I was doing this today, and she was like, can I see the scene where I was a baby? And because I'm sure everybody fucking knows because I say it all the time, but like my kids were the kids at the end, were Kristen and I, Nora and Josh's kids. And when they were little tiny babies, and it blew Audrey's.
For that?
I think they did. I think so.
Did you? Yeah. They should have.
They are. They're inquiring about where their paychecks are from that job.
It's already spent, Sagers.
Yeah, was their salary just like put into your paycheck?
I thought you were going to say, was their salary just pudding? Pudding.
Which wouldn't be bad, actually. Did you kind of feel that love right away from the fan base that they latched onto it right away?
Yeah, it was kind of unfamiliar for me anyway to be on I think Witwer had done some like
genre
sci-fi fan kind of stuff before. I think he was on Smallville before the show. So for me, it was like the first time I got to experience like ravenous fans and fans that really wanted to know what was going to happen next. And were so invested in the characters and would be vocal about it, and with things that they both loved and things that they wanted to be different and things that they were hoping for. And we actually formed like kind of amazing relationships with some of these people, Andrew being one of them. But like, but yeah, it to this day, people talk about the show, and I think it was like kind of a special thing for a lot of people, and which is really cool because I mean, I can say for myself, it was like an extremely transformative moment in time, both personally and professionally. And like, so like the fact that it had an impact on people both while we were making it and now even years later, it feels like, okay, like I wasn't crazy. We were making something kind of special. Like it was really, really special. And like we had such an amazing relationship that not just the cast too, like everyone involved was like so committed to the material, all the writers, all the people behind all the crew, everybody behind the scenes was so invested. And so the fact that fans were into it was just like icing on the cake. It was just it was the best. It's the reason you do it, right? Like, so, and I, you know, like who knows if that kind of fan interaction is anything that I'll ever experience again, but I'm really happy to have had it. You know what I mean?
Do you, Megan and Chrissy, do you want to add to that?
I still find it amazing that still to this day, when someone comes up to me and talks about how much they love the show, I immediately, nothing I have ever worked on is quite like this. But when someone says that they love being human, I feel an immediate connection to them. And I think it's because I loved the show so much and it was such a huge part of my life. And I feel like I became an adult when we were shooting it. And so I watched the show and loved the show as much as they did. So it's always special for me to hear someone talk about the impact it's had on their life as well.
Yeah.
I feel the same. Yeah. It will forever hold such a special place in my heart. And Megan, I completely agree that it's an instant connection. And it's always my favorite thing to hear that people loved.
From my perspective, like the fan reaction, the fan turnout at Comic-Con was always impressive. And also having done a lot of panels out there, I can honestly say that you were and remain my favorite cast panel to ever do because of just the energy and the chemistry and just how much fun it was that you guys brought to the stage. Do you think, with that said, over time, how much of yourselves do you think started bleeding into your characters? Obviously, very different types of characters and not always happy ones. Most of the time, not happy ones. But did you find yourself bleeding into your characters or having your characters influence yourselves at all?
It's hard to say because so much of Sally is who I am, especially at that time in my life. It was like my eyes were open for the first time in the same way that hers were, in a sense. And so it's hard to really draw a line between who she is and who I am. It always sort of felt the same.
I feel like I started out as kind of more of a hard ass than I am in real life. I think I project that out much more than I actually am. They certainly started writing more to my voice, I feel like, as the show went on. But we certainly had similarities, she and I, but also distinct differences, I'd say. But yeah, as far as like the longer the show went, I certainly feel like it was, all the writers were really writing to us in so many ways. Like the way that we spoke was so similar to how we spoke and speak. So, yeah.
Well, Sammy, you can't have been as neurotic and as.
Have you met me?
That's exactly the response I wanted. Yeah, speak to that a little bit.
I think that a lot of it had to do with the fact that we were all so close. And I think that anytime we all got in a room together and we were reading lines, automatically, I think that a lot of kind of who we inherently are kind of like just bled into the scenes. And so I think that that's probably one of the reasons why it worked so well, is because we were borrowing from our actual relationship, and just like it was just automatic, like it was just it went on to screen, and also what, I mean, I think Kristen's right. Like as soon as they kind of discovered what we excelled at, they started to kind of write for that. And that's always a huge benefit of I think of making a TV series, is that, you live in these characters for long enough that the writers, really get to know who you are and what you do best. And yeah, I think the other thing is like, it was, to Kristen's point, like, I think that the differences between our real selves and the characters really happened when the characters were making decisions that we in our lives wouldn't do, which wouldn't actually make, you know what I mean? Making the choices that were like, oh, fuck, like, don't, but that's what made it interesting. And that's what makes it interesting to be like an actor, is like, you want the character to be something that's not 100% you, like, so anytime any of the characters would make decisions that were like cringy or weird, it was always a really good thing. It was always like that kind of like, oh, this is like, so it's not going to end well.
I think it's definitely, we have to call out, yes, the writers on the show, and also producers Jeremy Carver, Anna Frick, and then Toby Whithouse, who created the original UK version. But yeah, were there moments where the writers presented you with something that you found was going perhaps too far, too weird? Maybe you're going to lose the character, lose the audiences, but then ended up being a really strong creative choice.
All the time, I think all the. I mean, I actually don't want to keep speaking. I want to let you guys speak. that happened to me all the time. I
personally was questioning Nora's decision to suddenly decide that she didn't want to be a human being at all anymore and just wanted to. That for me, I remember being like, okay, not sure how I feel about this journey for her, but ultimately, yeah, it made so much conflict in the season that it was great. But yeah, other than that, I don't know.
Was it that she wanted to be a werewolf all the time?
Yes, or you remember that scene in the woods when we were naked, like we always were, waking up naked? And we had a scene where I was like, had gone away for a couple episodes. I was like running. Twins.
Yeah, the twins. That's right.
And I tell you that I don't want to be a human being anymore.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. You, Sammy and Chris, you guys spent a lot of time in the buff.
The lines, even. I remember the lines from that scene. I said, you want to be human, but I don't think I do.
You're right.
Which is always a great moment when they say the title of the show in the show or in the movie. So you got to do that. Meghan, you, whereas they spent a lot of time naked, you spent a lot of time in the same outfit, but not an uncomfortable outfit. Looking back, how was the costume choices of Sally? Were you pretty pleased with how that one worked out for you, or were you as bored as hell?
A little bit of both. I think there's a real comfort in coming in and wearing the same thing every day. I mean, it was pajamas essentially until it was a dress. But like it was exciting to change the outfit. I will say that I really, really regret not taking the sweater. I don't know why I didn't take the sweater.
You didn't.
I honestly don't know. I don't remember. I don't know that it was even offered to me. I can't.
Maybe Janet still has it.
Guaranteed.
I'm sure they still have it somewhere, but I really do regret not taking it because it's so iconic.
Fans always ask anytime there's Comic-Con appearances about taking things from the set. And I think it's a good question because it shows that they're thinking of the show, they're connecting with the show and wondering how you connected with the show. So That said, what were the things? Did you snag anything from the set?
Oh boy.
Oh boy.
Who?
Well, first of all, I don't think, did we have the choice? I think everyone decided together what each person would get.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
And I think it was Anna who decided, but I was lucky enough to get Dog, the Catman dude.
It was the right choice.
It was definitely the right choice.
He needs to be with his mother. But he stands proudly in my house.
It's your aesthetic too. Like it definitely like
100%.
works in your house.
Yeah, he's like, I'm home, obviously.
Does anybody else have visitation rights to him? I mean, I know at the end of the show it was agreed that he would have visitation rights, but because Nora and Josh ended up with him, right?
Did we?
I think so. Yeah.
Well, I mean, they ended up dead. Spoiler, but you know.
Well, as soon as Maggie lifts the restraining order against Kristen, he'll be able to go
outside.
meet her kid.
Yeah.
We'll see what happens. I don't know.
I'm glad he ended up in a good place. Did either of you two take anything from set, or were you allowed to take anything?
I ended up with a brown leather chair, but then
You seem like confused. You're like,
yeah, because I don't have it anymore. When I left Montreal, it ended up staying in the apartment that I was in, and I don't know what became of it. I don't even think it was. I think it was
Wow.
faux. It wasn't even real leather. It was fine. It was fine.
I like that we gather to talk about.
No one ever even sat in it. It was like, take this chair. Like
This is such a downer note of like, we're talking about the legacy, the anniversary. You're like, yeah, I got the chair. I don't know. Someone else ended up with it.
I don't even remember. It wasn't a special chair.
The person who has it,
What?
the person who has it is just like, oh my God, are you kidding?
they're sitting in it right now.
Holy shit.
Looking up the number to Planet Hollywood.
Whitwer got a chair. Whitwer got that great green chair, right?
Yeah, that one was
It was cool. It was like a
That was
throne.
like-
Yeah.
What did you get, Sammy?
I got a couple cool things. I got the bugs that went above the fireplace. Remember
Oh
those
yeah.
bugs? That was really cool. Zoe made that. Zoe, our set designer, was like a genius. Like that house was like, there was so much cool stuff in that one.
Yeah.
So many interesting things to look at. It's like always like new weird stuff that there was like tucked into a corner.
Well,
So I got a really cool thing that went two things that went over the mantle. I got the bugs, and then I got remember when there was the metal H that burned up in the fire? I got that.
okay.
Which is cool.
Did you get your werewolf scrapbook?
No, maybe.
Well, hold that thought, because someone might want to weigh in, and let's bring him in. We've got Sam Witwer has arrived, fashionably late, who played Aiden on Being Human. Sam.
Oh,
I got the werewolf
You been?
scrapbook. That was me.
Oh, you got the werewolf scrapbook.
I'm so sorry. I had a voice session that ran late, but the good news was it happened right here at home. So I was like, okay, great. So I run into here and plug in. What's
You're drunk.
Yeah, I'm guys. I'm drunk. What's going on?
Well, welcome to the party. And so we just established that Kristen had a chair from set that she just kind of discarded unceremoniously, and you also got a chair. Is that still with you?
He's moving a chair.
Isn't it? Okay.
I love that our producer is asking right now in the private chat, what if Sam doesn't come back? Oh, there it is.
See? That, yes.
yeah, that chair is rad. Oh, you're gonna sit in it now. That's the thing to do.
Sorry, guys. It's
There he
only
is.
appropriate that I do this. Oh, it's so comfortable. Oh, guys.
I love that chair.
Yes.
It does look cozy, actually.
Real
That's
natural.
Found it.
Wow.
Were you just stroking your own hair?
No, my chair. I'll stroke my
No.
hair. Look at this. Is the hair? The hair's it's kind of.
It does.
Both.
Don't you wish you could do this right now, Kristen Hager, with the chair that you just discarded, just left to the trash?
you know what chair I'm talking about? No, you don't. No one ever sat in it.
No idea.
I'm willing to bet a fan does, and that's what matters. That's what matters. Well, let me. Okay, so Sam, since you're joining us, let me just ask, like, with this show, was there anything that you wanted to ever pursue with Aiden that you were not quite able to make happen? Any kind of like direction with that character that you never got to fulfill?
Boy, I feel like we got to do so much. We got to do all the best stuff. Yeah, I don't know. I feel like it was an embarrassment of riches when it came to the material. When
it was announced that the season that the show series would end with season 4, there was this very nice, strong announcement. It didn't just go away. It was a wrap up. Looking back, were you pleased with sort of the exit that the show had? And Sam, start with you, and then we'll move down the line.
I just wish that SyFy would have told the fans so that they weren't surprised, Did
they not?
No, the fans found out like an episode or two beforehand.
Like, I even remember I was on the set for season 4 leading into the premiere of season 4, and they didn't tell the media, and it was very kind of like sprung on people. But you guys did put together a little package that you put out there, but saying thanks for the support. So, okay, so you wish that they had told the fans, but overall, how did you guys feel about the conclusion of the series? Kristen, why don't you respond?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like the way that they wrapped up the Nora Josh storyline was beautiful. I thought it was great. I mean, I would tune in for some kind of spin-off of that to see what happened to them.
Oh, really?
But yeah, no, I thought I was really happy with how they wrapped it up. And then as a whole as well, like saying goodbye to this house and obviously the Sally Aiden stuff, I thought was beautiful. I loved the end.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
How about you, Meghan?
Yeah, I loved it too. It was just nice that everyone got to be happy for the first time in 4 years.
The whole show.
Yeah, it was just nice that all these people who went through so much just finally got what seems to be a happy ending.
Mm-hmm.
And it felt like real closure to us too, because we shot it in that order. Obviously, we burnt the entire house down, and it was like it was really emotional.
Yeah,
to be honest, like saying, and we shot that on the last day. I think the last day of shooting.
Yeah,
and it was really, really emotional to be like, I spent more time in this place than I have in my home in the last 4 years, and we burnt it to a crisp, and it was really saying goodbye. It was the end of an era.
Yeah. Sammy,
I thought that because we knew like going into season 4 that it was our last one, and the writers knew, and I thought that they could not have done a better job of kind of creating an arc that really led to a satisfying ending without just a bunch of filler. Like there was like. It was a great, just as a season of television, it was fantastic. I think season 4 was like maybe my favorite. Like I thought everything that was happening for all the characters was interesting. When Aiden and Sally, when they were like, yeah, Aiden and Sally are going to hook up, we were all of us were like, wait, like what? Like we never pictured that. And then and even at the time when it was kind of, being formed, it was like, oh, I can't imagine it being anything else, going any other way. And then they wrapped it up just so beautifully. I mean, honestly, it was just so hopefully it's exactly what everybody wanted. I mean, it's sad that it ended, and God, would I have loved to do another couple seasons, of course. I was working with my best friends, and I was creatively happy and challenged but couldn't have been any better, in my opinion. Once again, the writers really loved the show, and it showed. It really, they took a lot of pride in it, and it was a wonderful ending. The whole season was a wonderful ending. The whole season was great.
We were very lucky that the writers all it's not just that we all had the same sense of humor as the writers, but also we had sort of the same emotional storytelling sensibilities. I mean, you know, like there are a lot of jobs where you go and you shoot stuff and you work hard, but then you kind of forget about it when you go home. And we were always anxious to see, oh, have you seen the new episode, or have you seen the new cut of this, or did you know, we were extremely invested in what we were doing. We really loved it. We thought it was cool, and we thought it was funny, and we thought it was heartfelt, and we just really, really enjoyed it.
Well, something that really came across is that this was a family. You guys did come together as a family, and quite literally, in fact, because Meghan, you ended up having your own brother play your brother on the show. And, you know, I have a question about that, but you know what? Instead of me asking you, why don't I just ask him? Let's go ahead and bring him in.
Yes!
Where rules not about.
Everybody, we've got Jesse Rath here. Who is the
Jesse Rath?
I thought this was the Defiance panel.
Defiance.
It's actually like the Brainiac panel, because at least 3 of you now have played Brainiac on Supergirl, right? God. Yeah. Yes.
Yeah, that's true. That's very true.
Brainiac thing. Is this right, Jesse? Do I still have it? Is the Brainiac thing
better than I do?
Well, look at his fingers.
Yeah, because his fingers like bend
backwards. Look at that. Look at those things.
And then Sammy, and then you know what you do? You look in here. You look in there. See that? You
got to go like this.
You got to look in there. There it is. And then, which, by the way, me and Sammy did this more than once on set. We're like, check it out.
Because we're children.
What more than
all the time?
Yeah, daily.
Well, Jesse, thanks for joining us. And you know, I'm so curious because you played Robbie, you played Sally's brother on the show. What was it like for you entering this show? These guys that were already established as a cast, did you immediately felt welcomed in, and did you feel like you were part of this family? Because then Robbie continues to recur for the rest of the show.
It was so funny because I would hang out with these guys, and then I just all of a sudden it's like I took over their show. I was shooting and they all rapped, and then it was there was one day of filming where it was just me and their crew. It was very surreal.
Wait, Jesse, can I ask you a question?
Yes.
Jesse, do you remember? This is the way that, on a normal set, they'd be like, okay, so Jesse's character is going to get electrocuted by this power tool that gets in the water, and he gets electrocuted. And we'll do that, and we'll have a little pyrotechnic gag, and okay, cool. Not the way we did it in Being Human in Montreal.
No,
how are we doing the pyrotechnic, Jesse? Oh, we're going to put the power tool in the water, and we hope sparks will come.
Yeah, so like my character dies because he's in a puddle of water, and then the power tool falls in the puddle of water and electrocutes me. And so when we were shooting
we achieve that effect?
That's what we did. And I remember,
I know how we do it. Like, let's do that.
I was like, wait, isn't this dangerous? And they're like, no, it's fine. And then I was like, but this kills my character.
Well, how else are we supposed to do it?
Also,
we have to shoot it, Jesse.
Remember the special effects guy?
We gotta
tell
shoot
us.
something. Come on, we're burning light, Jesse. Come on.
Yeah.
I would expect maybe safer working conditions in Canada, but I guess that's not the case.
It's part of the fun of it. Especially at someone else's expense, or when putting someone else in danger, it's like,
and of course you did spend time as a ghost as well. And did your sister offer any advice on ghosty activities or behaviors or acting?
I don't know. Did you? I can't remember.
I can't remember.
I don't know. You were. It was you as a ghost. Well, you're always a ghost in the show. And
you've seen the show.
You're a ghost.
You were, yeah. And it was me as a ghost, and then my dead body as a dead body. And I I remember that the guy who played my dead body was very good looking, and he did a great job. I don't know, and then I did another show, and they were trying to find a body double for me, and I was like, that guy, and I was like, this guy's great, and I like got them to use the same guy.
Yeah, he was like the TV version of you.
Yeah. A poor man's me.
Yeah, Jesse,
I'm a poor man's Megan.
Yeah. Yeah.
I also want
By
to
the
say
way, this is how I get 90% of my roles, by the way. If Megan has a brother on the show, or I have to transform into a guy for an episode, that's how
Aaron,
I
I'm sorry, Sam, you're going to say something. Go for it.
I was just going to say congratulations on finishing your show, right? It's done. It's
Yeah.
that's
Well,
a
thank
huge
you. That's-
accomplishment. You should feel really good about that, man.
Yeah.
Thank you. That's the real reason why I'm here, is that there's a new episode tomorrow night of our final season, and it premieres on the CW.
But yes, congratulations on Supergirl. It's been a great run.
That's awesome.
That was awesome. And by the way, I just wanted to comment that there was, I don't know if Aaron Sagers, you've certainly seen a few of our panels and stuff, and we always try to be like, what can we do that's weird in our panel? And we did almost half a panel with Jesse as Megan's imposter. We're like, it's Sam Witwer, it's Kristen Hager, and it's Sam Witwer, and Meaghan Rath, and then Jesse just came on, and we did half the panel like that, with everyone going, "Are they gonna ever? I mean, are they gonna address this?"
You had a wig, and you tied your T-shirt up
like that, yeah,
Yeah.
T-shirt knot. So
like how I wear my T-shirt,
like how Megan does it.
right. And then halfway through the panel, there was a curtain behind us, and we hear this, and we pull the curtain back, and Megan's tied up on the chair with the gag.
I believe that was Dragon Con, right? I seem to recall. Yeah.
Those were some of my favorite panels that we ever did. Those were so fun.
Well, I guess that with that question, what are the moments on set or off that come to mind when you reflect back on this show, or when you when you reflect fondly back on this show? What are the moments that really come to the forefront of your mind? Was it a Comic-Con? Was it, I don't know. I remember Jello shots at Orlando, Universal Studios Halloween Horror Nights.
Oh my God, Sammy, remember that? That was the worst day of my life.
Yeah, I remember that. That was the worst day of your life.
You guys toured the world in season 1, and I didn't get to go do any of those things.
Yeah,
you missed out on
our first ever panel. That was the first one we ever did for the show. It was like for the press. I think it was like, I don't know what it was, but Sammy and I got there a day early, and we decided, we're like, let's have a drink. We decided to have a day of Long Island iced teas. I've never had one ever since. And we got obliterated. There was one point you were lying on the hotel floor, and I was for some reason trying to stomp on you.
I think we were. I honestly, like, they were also not just Long Island iced teas. They were like Universal Studios gag Long Island iced teas. And when I drank, could put it back. And you matched me.
Yeah, it was the worst day of my life. I don't think I've ever been more hungover the next day. Like when we did the panel, I was so hungover that I was shaking on the stage, and all I was looking for was like the exit if I had to run to go throw up. It was hell.
I felt really bad for you.
And yet that night you followed it up.
You live and learn, right? We'll never do that.
Speaking of living and learning and alcohol use, I had had my first hangover on the show. And I shot a fight scene with my first hangover ever, because Aiden was supposed to get drunk, like obliterated drunk, and I don't drink. So I'm like, I better get obliterated drunk and film myself trying to do the dialogue. And me obliterated drunk in a dialogue it's like, if you see what's in the episode, that's the toned down version of what I was like obliterated drunk. And I almost killed myself that night because I didn't know I wasn't supposed to drink the whole bottle of vodka. They were like, no, you don't do the whole thing. I'm like, I thought I had to get obliterated drunk. And so it was not. I don't ever want to do that again.
Bad choices. alcohol aside, the other moments that come to the forefront of your mind when you reflect back on this show, and if you were to sum up the experience in a memory or two, what would it be?
Sam getting complaints for farting on set.
Yeah. That was a big deal for me too.
Well, the thing was that we tried to explain to, the staff that was there normally was fine with it, but the guest directors, that had to be explained to them that it's like, no, this is part of our process. Sam farting keeps us all buoyant and, keeps the show running.
Yeah.
Hence the name Dingleberry that you're rocking today.
Yeah.
Yes.
I know. Not gonna lie. I thought that was just gonna be for you guys. That was gonna be a whole thing. No, anytime anyone screen grabs it, there I am. There it is now.
The actor formerly known as Sam Huntington.
Yeah.
Now Dingleberry.
I feel like for me, there were moments in the kitchen when it was the four of us in the kitchen that I still don't know that I've ever laughed so hard in my life. And we had them all, like it happened all the time where we'd be in the kitchen and Witwer would do something ridiculous and it would just become the runner for the day. And then we would just be in hysterics, much to the frustration of the crew who were just trying to do their job.
I know. I can't believe we behaved like that.
Oh my gosh. I do look back at it and I'm like, oh my gosh. But it's probably why it kind of worked too, one of the reasons.
I know, but some of the stuff, Witwer, you would not get away with that shit today. What you did to that director.
I've thought about that, and I've reflected on that. I think I've grown a lot because of that. I think. Should we say what it was?
Yeah, if yes.
It's a shame that you don't have another human there that you can,
Yeah, you need a person.
Right. Now, for the record, I never touched the man. I just pretended to be touching. There's a movie called 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea, and in it, not Michael, Kirk Douglas plays Ned Land, and this big sort of barrel-chested guy, and he's like, "Hey, I'm Ned Land, mate." And he tells everyone, "Mate," and his chest is like this. And he just kind of goes around everywhere, and he has a musical number. Kirk Douglas has a musical number, and it goes like, "Ah, the whale of a tailor, tell you lad, a whale of a tailor too. Out the flopping fish and the girls I love on the mind that bed on the moon above. Whale of a tailor, and it's all to us, whereby my tattoo." And Kirk Douglas chews the scenery so hard that became a thing that I did on set, that I'd come in and be like, "Look, guys, it's Kirk Douglas." And then I'd be like, "Ah, whale of a tailor, tell you lad, set someone on fire. Whale of a tailor too, punch a guy. Oh, the flopping fish, and shoot a guy." And, just completely... he came on and he chewed the scenery and yes. And as I was going through and, going around and putting my arm around a crew member and doing this and singing it. And then I came behind the director and I was like, "Well, on this," and I did that. And then I went on to someone else. So for me, it was just one part of it.
It was so seamlessly done, which was why you
wreaked havoc.
Yeah.
When I become Kirk Douglas, I'm not in control anymore. I go.
It's all Kirk. Kristen, the thing what's sort of the memory, the thing that leaps out for you?
It was this special moment in time where any time I think about it, no matter when or where, it's just, I'm filled with such happiness. It was so special. It was the most fun job I've ever had, with literally my best friends. I've never gotten so close to another group of co-stars ever before, and I don't think I ever will again. It was this really special thing, and it was all caught on camera, caught on film, all these moments between us, which is magic. It was perfect. It warms my heart to think about.
Mm-hmm. And Meghan.
I think what Sammy was saying too, those times in the kitchen, it was something that happened when we were at the end of a block, or trying to finish the season, we'd go like into crazy overtime and just become delirious. But it was so much fun, and we were just running on adrenaline. But those were the moments that were truly just so much fun that I've never, experienced again, nor do I really want to or have the energy for. But like, yeah, it really is a special moment in time that, I'll always cherish and will always be really, really close to my heart.
Some of the most memorable in a positive way too were some of the more challenging moments. Anytime we got to like do a really, really heavy scene together, or anytime that like Chrissy and I would like wake up naked in the woods and like have to like fight through a day of just being like so uncomfortable, and then getting through that day and being like, holy shit, like we did that. Like that was really impressive. And the other thing is like that I'll never, ever, ever like, I'm so grateful to like have had this in my professional life is like the three of them were like my biggest cheerleader, and we were all each other's, like anytime any of us like just fucking nailed something, we would just be like, boy, that, like it was just so supportive and incredible. And I just always felt like I was doing it, not just for me, but like to like impress and like live up to these guys. We've all said it before, where it's like we just all had so much respect for each other, and that is just something that is holistically a wonderful memory for me, is like just being supported like that.
I've never worked with three other actors where I couldn't peg what their limitations were. And what I mean by that is you work with people for a while, you get to know what they're good at, what they're not good at, this and that. I was constantly impressed because the writers kept throwing curveballs and wonderful things for people to do. And I was always so impressed with what these three actors would turn in, because you'd honestly go, well, what can't they do at this point? I remember just being feeling so lucky that I got to see them every day and work with them and learn from them. It was really, really fun.
Mm-hmm. And Jesse, I want to hear from you as well. I mean, having come into this, and what was your memory of this show?
Well, I just want to say, like, this thing you guys talk about like this connection between all of you guys. It's not just something that only you guys can see. Like everyone else on the outside sees it too. And for me, it was like I always saw this magical thing happening to my sister, and seeing the friendship and connection and synergy that you guys had as a cast became something that I would always aspire to have with my cast on a show. And it kind of set the bar as to what you could achieve with chemistry. So I it wasn't just special for you guys; it was special for all of us to see you guys work with each other.
That's really sweet. I know, man. Me too, Maggie. Holy shit!
Screw you, Jesse.
Man.
Wow, that was good. That's a great note to wrap up on. And I know we're out of time, but before we go, just a silly question: if there were ever to be a reboot of this show, or if they were to resurrect this show, what would your characters be doing? Wrong answers only. Be as ridiculous as you care to be. Jesse, I'll start with you, and we'll go from there.
I'd be a leprechaun stuck in a bungalow trying to find my window.
I love it. All right. Meghan, why don't you take it from there?
I think that Sally would have found a way to come back to life. She'd live in Florida and be addicted to bath salts with full COVID. We also know that if anyone had COVID out of this group, it's Josh.
No. I work in a hospital, and I probably don't wash my hands.
Kristen, how about you?
Changed her name to Patricia Lancaster. Is a secret agent, wears wigs, lives in Europe somewhere.
I feel like she would have the best chance for like a somewhat normal or badass normal life, I would say.
Yeah. Patricia Lancaster.
Yeah. Jessica Lancaster. Yeah. Okay. Or Patricia. Sorry.
Patty.
Sam.
Aiden moved to Vegas. He lives with a Cyclops unicorn and a horseman, centaur man named Horseman. And he dances. He dances and he only drinks from bagged crocodile, which is made of anyway. And it's looking bad on his skin, but it's great. He's having the time of his life.
All right. Sammy, do you want to wrap up?
Yeah, Josh, I think he probably moved to Thailand and he married like an 86-year-old woman because, he's got like really, really horrific mother issues. And so he's just kind of waiting for that to fizzle out. So he can start the next chapter of his life. He's already lined up another old woman.
Yeah.
To marry. He's having an affair with her now.
I like that in no scenario was Nora and Josh still together.
No.
No mention of your kids.
When you watch that last episode, 100% they're cruising right for divorce. I mean, when I see that.
Yeah. Well, guys, with that said, first off, just thank you so much for doing this. I know the fans out here are going crazy. We're looking at all these chats and people are so happy. And I'm so happy to see you guys gather together. Truly, this was and is a special show, which you can see on Sundance Now, streaming on Sundance Now. So you guys can still check it out. And yeah, Sammy.
I have one last thing to say. And that is to acknowledge you, Sagers, because you have been with us since literally the beginning. And you've always been such a champion for us and such a wonderful human being to reconnect with. I love that we get to do this with you from time to time. I love that we keep in touch. You're a beautiful human being. And I'm just so grateful that we got to do this with you again, man. What a wonderful thing. I really am so, so grateful.
I have to fight the feelings.
Thank you. Totally true. You've been part of the team.
I thank you all, and I think this is great. So hopefully we'll see each other in the physical realm at some point very soon. And for all of you guys out there, let me just give a round of applause. Thank you, Jesse Rath. Thank you, Kristen Hager. Thank you, Sammy Huntington, Meaghan Rath, and Sam Witwer. Being Human, happy anniversary, 10 years. This was incredible. Thank you guys for joining, and thank you for everyone for tuning in. All right.
Love you guys so much.
Thanks, guys.
I love you guys.
Witwer rules.
All right. Bye, guys.